Hey everybody, welcome back to another video with saklesmiles. I'm here to show you how I make my shepherd's pie dish, or as it's called, cottage pie. With St. Patrick's Day coming up, this is a great alternative dish to make besides the popular cabbage and corned beef. Stay tuned! Okay, so this famous dish has two names. If you're using ground beef, you would call this dish cottage pie. But if you're using lamb, then it would be known as shepherd's pie. So cottage pie, as it was called back then, was made because the Irish housewives of the late 1700s and early 1800s hated watching their husbands and kids waste food. So what they did was they mixed the leftovers together and made it into a pie type dish. This pie consists of 3 layers: mashed potatoes, corn, and then the meat. So for this recipe, you're going to need 1 pound of ground beef, instant potatoes, or if you want to do all the mashing and make your own mashed potatoes, you can use your real potatoes. And then you'll also need corn. So this can be fresh corn, it could be microwavable corn, or it could be canned corn, your choice. But for this video, we're going to do this my way because this is the cheapest way for me. It's the most efficient, it's fast, and it works. So first you're going to put your stove on, add the oil to get ready to fry up your ground beef. While the oil's heating up, put the oven on 430, or you could put it on broil and just let that heat up. Also, you're going to warm up a bowl of water because you need hot water for these instant potatoes. You could put a bowl of water in the microwave for about, I would say, 4 minutes, and then you'll have instant hot water. Okay, so I'm going to cut up my onions and add my onions into the frying pan. Like I said, you can add whatever you want to season up your meat. Then I'm going to add my minced garlic. And then my Italian season, which includes the thyme and basil. I'm going to let that simmer. Now you can choose to add ground beef, ground turkey, lamb, whatever you want. But for this recipe, I'm using ground beef because that's the cheapest. And I don't really favor ground turkey that much. So you're going to let it cook for a bit in the onions and the minced garlic. And then just let that sit. Alright, so you got your hot water. I put the corn in the microwave for 5 minutes. Now I'm going to open up my mashed potato packets. I bought 2 just in case. You probably only need 1, but I bought 2 just in case because this is going to serve about 5 to 6 people. I have my whisk, and I'm just going to add the potatoes in. So I'm kind of glad that I did get 2 because when you're adding in the potatoes, you don't want it to be too soft. You want it to be formable. Everything in this recipe, when you're cooking it, it should end formable because you're making a pie. So you don't want it to be too sloppy. So as you can see, it's too sloppy, so I'm going to add in my second packet. There, now it's nice and thick. So now don't worry about these mashed potatoes sitting out for too long and getting cold because at the end we're going to put them in the oven. Now I'm going to add my seasonings to the ground beef. Just a couple, you don't need that much. some black pepper, crushed red peppers, because I do like my shepherd's pie spicy, and then regular hamburger meat. This is the fastest dish that you can make that could feed the most people. And because potatoes are included in this dish, people will be more full off of the serving that you give them. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, let me know if you tried this recipe before. If shepherd's pie is your favorite dish, how you cook your shepherd's pie. Do you add in celery or carrots or any other vegetables or seasonings to yours? What kind of meat you use? If you cook your mashed potatoes from scratch, if you got that time, good for you. Comment down below and let me know. So remember, while this ground beef is cooking, the oven's heating up. The water for the mashed potatoes is already warmed up. Your mashed potatoes are done. Your corn is warmed up in the microwave. Everything is going on at the same time while this ground beef is cooking. Make sure your ground beef is thawed up. Make great use of your free time. Cleaning up the kitchen, whatever you gotta do. But all in all, this whole recipe should only take you about 15 minutes. Alright, so now the ground beef is done. So now I'm going to add my cheese. This cheese is going to help with the forming process to make the beef nice and sticky so it's not falling apart when you're eating. Remember, it's a pie, so everything should stick together. I'm going to add more cheese to this frying pan because it's not as sticky as I want it. And also the cheese adds to the taste. So there you go. It serves two purposes. Alright, now the corn is done. I got my pan ready for the pie. Before I put it in the oven, I have my small dish. I'm going to put butter in this dish and put it in the microwave for no longer than about 35 seconds. We want melted butter, and you're going to see what we're going to do with the melted butter. This is when you're going to need more shredded cheese and your paprika. So I'm going to spray the pan, then I'm going to put the pie in with regular oil spray. Now, the first thing that I'm going to add is the ground beef. See how it's nice and sticky? And I'm just gonna flatten that out. Next thing I'm going to add is the corn. Like I said, don't worry if the corn or the mashed potatoes get cooler than when they were first cooked, because it's going to go in the oven anyway, so it's all going to be nice and warm. So I used a whole bag of corn, 1 bag. Pat that down into the ground beef. It'll stick because, you know, there's cheese in the ground beef, so it's very sticky. Make that nice and flat to get ready for the mashed potatoes. Now, it doesn't matter how you put the mashed potatoes in the pan. You're going to smooth it out afterwards, so just don't worry about it. Just throw it all in there for now. Now I'm just going to get just a spatula and just to smooth it. Get all the sides. Make it nice and smooth. It needs to be smooth. This part is very important. It needs to be smooth because you're going to add in the melted butter, and you want the melted butter to go all over. This is the crust. This is the top crust, the most important part of the pie. So just make sure it's nice and neat and smooth on the top. Right, I'm going to pour the butter. Try to aim for pouring it in the middle and let it seep out to the sides. But you might need to lift the pan and tilt it just to make sure that it's covering all of the mashed potatoes, because we want a crust all around, because the crust is the favorite part. Is the best part. Now I'm just going to sprinkle a little paprika. Not too much, just a little bit. And then I'm going to sprinkle some shredded cheese over. And you're going to see how nicely this crust forms. Clean up around the sides and put it in the oven. Alright, now here is the final look. This was in the oven for no more than 2 minutes. As you can see, the crust formed nicely on the top. I just want to reiterate, do not keep this pie, if your oven is on broil, do not keep this pie in the oven for more than like 2 minutes. You don't want to burn it. If your oven is on 430, temperature 430, you'll probably keep it in for about 5 to 10 minutes, depending. Bon appetit! Alright you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out my other cooking videos on my channel and subscribe to stay tuned for more content. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!